Thank you. Is that 10 million in Cambodian real or
10 million in US dollar.
US dollars? Wow, that's a lot.
Cambodia is a very dollarized economy, so that's the reason why it's so stable for the past 25 years. The real stable at the exchange rate are very stable. There's no fluctuation in the exchange rate. Amazingly, I was here in Cambodia for 23 years now, and the exchange rate stayed the same for the past 25 years. Mm-hmm.
So there isn't really like a foreign exchange risk because it's very dollarized.
No, not at all. It has been the same for the past 25 years since I was here. So because of the dollarized economy, so you could use dollar in almost everything in Cambodia. And that's the amazing part of it is that foreigners are welcome and they're easy to use their money. And not just only dollar, but also other money, also other exchange, also the Chinese yuan, also yes.
Yeah, and speaking of issuing bonds, because a lot of the issuances, these corporates or banks, they're really willing to incorporate ESG elements into these like financing vehicles, and I think it's very natural for an educational group to issue perhaps social bond or some similar vehicles. Are you considering some of these?
In Cambodia, social bond are not yet existed. They are working on it. They're still working on it. So basically, we just have guarantee bond by the Cambodian government that they created quite late, actually a couple of years ago, and they're in early stage. They haven't issued a bond yet so far. They haven't guaranteed a bond yet. So we would be the first company to be guarantee a bond if we were to issue one. Yes. It is called CGCC. It's a government guarantor. Yes.
Okay, I'll check that later. So that will only be for Cambodian and domestic investors.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Do you have in mind a specific like use of proceeds of this 10 million from bond issuance?
Well, we will continue to expand. We have secured 20 campuses ahead of time to expand in the near future. So with 10 million, what 100 million, 200 million, we will expand. We already have campus ready, waiting to be expanded. So it's a matter of how soon we get the money, how much we get the money, and the campus are available. We have secured 50-year leases on most campuses. So it's just a matter of time when we get enough funding sources to expand them. And in Cambodia, it's not difficult to expand them, and it doesn't take long to get break even in return. Yes.
Right. You just mentioned 20 campuses planned ahead of time. So you're saying that you're planning to build 20 more campuses.
We already secured 20 more campuses for each school. We have 10 schools for general study. We have 10 schools for language study. So we have 20 schools. So right now we have 40 campuses secure, 20 each. So if we were to have fun, we can build anytime because we already secure a total of 40 campuses, 20 each for each school. So during COVID, most of the property go down drastically. So during COVID, while people are having financial difficulty, with our school continue to grow, we use the fund to secure school campuses and waiting for renovation and construction.
Right.
And that's the advantage for us during COVID.
Yes, to be very stringent. And what about in the future? Like, do you have any numbers on how many new schools or campuses you're planning to build?
Well, in our projection, we plan to build 4 to 5 campuses per year based on our current organic sources of funding. But in the future, if we have more equity financing or debt financing, we can go as many as up to 10 per year. So it's a matter of funding. But right now, as of secure source of funding, we can go up to 4 or 5 campuses per year.
Can I ask, like, the first thing is how long it will take to build a new campus in Cambodia. The second thing is how much does it usually cost to build a new school?
If we were to get a building and renovate it, it would usually take about 1 year, and it costs about 2M. If we were to construct a new school, it will cost us about 4 to 6.5M, and it will take 1 year and a half.
I get it. So you just said your 4 to 5 projection is usually based on your organic source of financing. So that's it. So that's like a well calculated goal. So
Yes.
And you're like balancing your revenue with the investment in new campuses.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you're saying you are looking at other sources of financing, such as debt or equity. So the debt, I understand, is kind of related to the 10 million bond you just mentioned.
Yes.
And the equity funding is perhaps a second IPO in other markets.
Or maybe just some equity investment from outside there. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks so much. I think I'm almost done with my pre-prepared questions. I was just wondering if there are any other like very important aspects that I did not mention just now.
Well, Cambodia education sector, we do seasonal collection, and our income is fluctuated based on the enrollment. So we have to be very careful with cash flow. And there's certain period in time every year that there's a shortage of cash flow, but we manage to cover that year on year. And education, as you know, it's seasonal, so it's very difficult to control the cash flow. And but we were able to manage it for the past 19 years. Most of the schools going bankruptcy for simple reason they're not able to manage the cash flow and the projection. And in Cambodia, understanding the financial literacy and the cash flow are minimal, limited. And this is a sad part in a developing country. And for us, we were able to manage that early stage on, so we were able to survive. So there's hundreds of schools opening every year, but hundreds of schools also going bankruptcy. So it's not as rosy as we see. It's up to how well you manage your cash flow and financial sources. And some people have a lot of finance sources coming in, but then they do not know how to do their cash flow properly and project their project properly. So end up short-handed. And this is very dangerous. And it happened not just in education sector, but in most of other sector also. And this is a very risky part in developing a new business. And we see that the trend here, I don't know, it happened in other countries, but in Cambodia it's very scary and very risky because of the mismanagement and lack of understanding of starting a business. And it's sad sometimes to see it's a big setback for most entrepreneur or most startup when they have enough fun, but then they end up short-sighted and short-handed with the management of cash.
Well, that's a really interesting topic because this reminds me of the crisis of some schools in Hong Kong because a lot of people are moving out away from the city. So there's usually a lack of students, especially in those primary schools in Hong Kong during recent years. So I think following up on this, do you have any advice for educational companies or for these schools to how can they better do their cash flow projection? Because you also just mentioned it's very seasonal, it's unstable. What are some factors to consider to better to do this projection?
Well, you have to know all your sources of fund, and then it's a guaranteed source of fund or is a risky source of fund. If you know it's a guaranteed source of fund, then you know how to project your campus construction. And once you do that, that's a 50% safe. And another 50% safe is the quality of education, the service you provide. No matter how much money, and I see people who start a campus with 20 million, 50 million international school, and they close. Simple reason is that they don't know how to control their cash flow. And that's simple as that. And number two, they don't know how to operate the school. They think that doing school as a business, that's what it's making profit. But doing school as business is not what you're looking for. You do school for the community. what's the word you used to say that you do? Uh, don't make business on school, but make school to provide education, and so quality comes first, and that's what is most important. If you focus on quality, then people will come, regardless of the fee, prices, and so on. And this is what happened in Cambodia. A lot of people focus on the business, on school, and then they misunderstand, and at the end they pay big prices. So not to say that school don't go bankrupt, but almost like I would say 4 or 6 schools go bankruptcy during COVID, out of 10, and that's a big number. And you could see in front of your eye every day that schools close down, and it's sad that you spend so much money and then you don't provide quality education. You don't know how to operate. You have to be experienced in school business, basically.
Yeah, I think that's really a very, very important point. Is on because as a business, you certainly you have to make profits, but you're a school. You have to provide quality education because that's the core thing of opening up a school in Cambodia or in other markets as well.
Education takes a long term to invest to get a return on earning. It takes a lot and a lot of investment, but small return. But if you're patient enough, you will get better return in the long run.
I think it's like the education itself. It takes like around 10 or 20 years to educate the people.
That's right.
Wait until they are like grown up and fully literate.
That's right. That's right. If you have a low turnover of students, then you know that you're doing good. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that's perhaps all from me today.
Thank you so much, Ryan. You're very good at interviewing.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, everybody.
Okay.